Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 376 for Tuesday, the 2nd of December, 2014. So nice to see ya. Hello! What do we got going on tonight, Christa?
We have a ton of questions in the mailbox here, a lot.
Sweet. We're going to crack into that mailbag. If you haven't got your questions in yet, email us live at category5.tv or join the chat room, Category 5 on Freenode. Over to the newsroom. Hi, Sasha Dermatis.
Hi, Robbie Ferguson. Hi, Christa. Here's what's coming up in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Errors in Microsoft Windows that facilitate remote access and privilege escalation continue to surface, and those who patch these issues run the risk of breaking their systems. Sony has developed a watch made from e-paper as part of an initiative experiment using the material in fashion products. Graphene shows promise for bulletproof armor. And no doubt you remember Password Box from episodes 332 and 347. Well, they've been bought by Intel Security, and the announcement was made yesterday. Stick around, the full details are coming up later in the show.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Starring Sasha Dermatis, Hillary Rumble, Christa Wells, Eric Kidd, and your host, Robbie Ferguson.
Introducing Belltone First, a revolutionary new hearing aid. So small you can hardly see it. So comfortable you can hardly feel it. For the first time ever, you can control hearing aids directly from your iPhone. Pick up the phone, listen to music, and use your hearing aids like wireless headphones. Hear everything that matters. Try Belltone First. For a free trial, call 1-800-BELLTONE now.
Category 5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. That's cat5.tv/TPN and the International Association of Internet Broadcasters, cat5.tv/IAIB.
Thanks, Christa. This is Category 5 Technology TV. I'm Robbie Ferguson.
I'm Christa Wells.
Got your questions in. Make sure you email us live at category5.tv. Jump in that chat room as well. I want to remind you, we've got those limited edition Category 5 t-shirts and hoodies. They are available only for the next 3 hours if you want to get it in time for Christmas. Wouldn't you love to get one of those in your stocking? Or a loved one?
Get it in a loved one?
No, a loved one in your stocking?
Okay.
No, for a loved one.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
Your loved one would love to receive one. But if you go to teespring.com/category5, that's teespring.com/category5, you'll be able to pick one up. Like I say, only 3 hours left to get them. Christa here designed our fantastic logo, as you know. So, show her some love. Go grab some of those shirts.
There's a lot of pressure on that.
Yeah. Gotta tell you all about it. That's how you do it. We'll post the link in the chat room there for you as well. teespring.com/category5. Thanks also to those who have been using our affiliate links through the Support Us section of category5.tv. That's a way that you can do your Christmas shopping and you'd be supporting the show at the same time. Shopping at places like Amazon, B&H Photo Video, even eBay. You can shop there. You're going to go to Amazon.com anyways, or whichever. If you use .co.uk, .ca, we're on every Amazon. So you just go through our website, category5.tv, and as you purchase through them, a portion of each purchase goes to support Category 5 TV. So as the music winds down, we've got this thing to give away. I want to tell you all about it, but we're going to improve the quality of your water using Vive water technology. We've got some of these pitchers to give away this month, so stick around. We're going to tell you all about how you can pick up one of those. And I know that Hey, well, before we jump into it, because I know we've got a lot of questions, I want to go to m.cat5.tv. Saw some of your questions asking about how do you create mobile apps and sites and things like that. We're going to get into that tonight, so stick around. But check out our mobile site, m.cat5.tv. So tonight is a viewer question extravaganza.
It is. It's a fancy way of saying we have a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. No time for anything else. No shenanigans. I guess how you been? It's been
I think I've been well.
yeah, keeping your head above water.
Yeah.
Christmas season is always
It's
crazy
crazy.
for self-employed
Yes.
individuals who, everybody has their
Yeah.
deadlines. It's like, okay, Christmas is coming. We know that then it's New Year, and all of a sudden it's 2015.
All of a sudden,
Got to get her done now.
I just realized this last minute thing I needs to be done. Just realized it.
Oh, Christa, can you do that for me?
Yes. Yeah, it's got to get done.
And she says yes. You see that? Yes.
It's got to happen.
You got to say no.
If I don't do it, someone else will, and they'll do it
That's true.
not as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
Anyways.
Well, should we jump into some
Yeah,
questions
I
and
think
start
so.
tackling this mailbag? And like I say, get into the
Yes.
chat room. If you don't seem to be getting our attention, because it's a little bit challenging to keep up with the chat room when it's fairly active during a live show. If you can't get through to us, double-click on one of our names. There's myself, Robbie F., the Christa, and Sasha D. over there in the newsroom. So if you want to chat with any of us directly, you can double-click on our name to be able to do that.
Good stuff. We had a question just a couple minutes ago in the chat room, so why don't we tackle that one first? It was from Whiskey Zero. He just wants to get an update on the internet connection project.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you go to my blog, baldnerd.com, you'll find out a little bit more information about how we want to bring internet to Studio D. I'm going to go there now to help you see how to find that, baldnerd.com. Really easy to remember, just look at my face. All right, so when we get there, how I plan to bring internet service to Studio D tells us all about it. There are some really cool devices from Ubiquiti. And these devices, if you've been watching my blog, these are basically little antennas, kind of like what you would see, like the ExpressView satellite TV kind of things. They're really small dishes. Mm-hmm. And you install this thing on the back, also made by Ubiquiti, and it goes on the roof of my house and then on the roof of the studio here, and we'll send the signal
connects to each
so
other,
that I can piggyback off of our home internet connection. Tell you why we want to do that is because it's very, very expensive to do what we're doing right now, which is using cellular internet service. We've got a tower right across the road, so our signal strength is surprisingly excellent. We get a very, very good signal here, so I'm thankful for that. Because we need to raise the funds in order to be able to get those Ubiquiti devices. Our cost is a little over $1,000, and then I've got to install it myself to keep down the labor costs. And some viewers have been wonderful to contribute. We've raised $400 so far, but we are a ways off from being able to get that. Why does it really matter? I'm quite satisfied with the quality of the LTE internet. It's been working really, really well for us here, but it's very expensive. What happened just before the show, Sasha, as you were your computer there, the teleprompter?
Oh, that's right. It said that what did it say? That we had exceeded our data limit. Yeah, gone over.
So we, just before the show, actually got a notification from the ISP saying we've gone over our limit. Click here to pay more. And that's kind of how it goes. So and we've got the bill this month, and it's twice as much as I would hope to pay for internet service. That's just how it works. So the reason that we want to get those Ubiquiti devices is that I've already got internet at home. Mm-hmm. It's faster because it's not a business connection, it's a home connection, and it's really cheap to get fast home internet. And we know from Studio C that it was fairly reliable and it worked very well. So we want to piggyback off of that to cut our expenses month to month. But there's that initial cost of having to buy the hardware and then set it up. Please contribute soon, because soon we're going to have 5 feet of snow on the roof. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think that's what it's going to boil down to, because I'm not going to be able to go up there.
Oh, you can go up there.
Oh, no. We have like
Just
a
a matter of how brave you are.
what do you call it? It's like a steel roof,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a little bit slanted, just enough to let the water and the humans slide off.
Oh,
You know
then
what
just
you
lick
do.
it.
Yes. Just
If you lick the roof,
lick
you'll
your
stick
hands
right to
and then
it.
go.
Yeah. You'll be fine.
Robbie.
These are all good ideas we're throwing at you.
Thanks a lot.
Take one.
Okay, so that's where we're at.
Good ideas.
Yeah.
All right. Are you,
Did that answer your question? We ended it with just lick the
All
just lick
right.
the roof.
get into a question that maybe doesn't require us thinking about Robbie's sudden death.
It's very high building too. Yeah.
Here's a
Multi-stories.
question. I can't tell you who it's from,
Okay.
but it's a question.
It's a secret. If this is from you,
I can't find it. I'm sorry. Yeah, you'll know. If it's you, here's your question.
doesn't say who it's from.
I don't see one.
Oh, PC Tweaker.
Oh, see, I'm not used to.
I'm sitting over here. I don't have my
non-Mac.
glasses on.
I have a Mac.
So you're
And
used to
I'm not
everything
used-
being upside down and
I'm
sideways?
used to everything being nice and neat and clean and orderly.
What are you saying?
Boy, bam.
It's
So,
an
first
email.
of all, I found
it
your
says
Roku
at the
channel
top of the email.
I'm sorry, I'm
from
reading an email
PC Tweaker.
question. There's a
From
question here.
PC Tweaker.
Did you want to hear the
it
question?
It says that on your screen.
Is this a question extravaganza or a Robbie cut Christa
I
off
believe we need
extravaganza?
mediation here.
Sasha,
Okay.
what do you think?
I think that what you should be doing is doing feedback sandwiches. You say a positive thing about Robbie, and then the feedback, and then another positive thing about Robbie.
Do I have to?
I feel that sometimes when I sit next to you, a nice glow hits my face and really
I can't help it.
brings out my cheekbones.
Especially the right one.
It's pretty bright in here. The head kind of is shiny. I'll give you that.
Okay.
That wasn't that.
PC
Alright.
Tweaker.
There's a
We got your question here,
from
PC
PC Tweaker.
All right.
Caused much controversy
Yeah.
within the Category 5 studio. But here we go. First of all, he says, I found your Roku channel about 6 months ago, and I love the show.
Nice.
I know this might be outside the scope of the show, but I'm looking for some advice on developing a mobile app that will run on iOS or Android devices. I work for a public school with over 3,000 students. We have a dinosaur photo ID program that requires a significant amount of data and file manipulation to migrate the contents from the ID system to the student information system. I'd like to create an app that could be used to not only take student photos, but also give our security staff the ability to look up student info without having to do it from their desk. It says my greatest concern is security. The SIS uses an Oracle 11 gig database, which I would like to perform direct lookups, but I don't want data to remain on the devices. Also, I would need to incorporate the ability to print, but only to specific printers. I know I've thrown out a lot out there, but I've never built a mobile app before, and I want to make sure that I at least start off on the right foot. Thank you for your time, and any advice you give me, it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's an interesting project. I should just precede any answer that I give to advice that I would give about programming. You need to understand where I'm at and where I've come from. And I was a basic programmer as a kid. I grew up with GW Basic, Q Basic, and that whole kind of trend in the basic language. Then when internet came out, I started working with HTML, Java, and JavaScript. Started doing XML, then PHP. So my flow of how I've become a programmer has largely revolved around cloud infrastructures and the ability to create systems for web. And that's been really neat, because over the past several years we've really seen a transition where the web has become what they started calling Web 2.0 a while back, but it became where the internet is basically an application delivery system. We now call it, I guess, the cloud. Mm-hmm. Cloud-based systems such as, you think about Google Calendar, Google Docs, to name a few that are fairly familiar, but even Microsoft Outlook now is a web app, really. So that's the transition that we've seen. So my programming skills, my programming experience stems from an evolution toward web-driven platforms. So when I think about building a system for a school, like you're explaining, sounds to me almost like a student management system, perhaps, something along those lines. I know I was working with a school in Barrie, and they're using FileMaker to be able to manage all of their students, and it gets to the point where having an in-house server, having to maintain that server, and it gets rather large after several years. It becomes a little bit impractical. So we look at centralizing the database onto a cloud-based server, encrypting its data. So we're using strong cryptography in the database itself, so that if somebody were to compromise the database, there's no way to actually read it. It's fully encrypted with strong cryptography. And then building a front end that is web-based. The nice thing about that is you can create something that's what we call responsive design. So it'll work in a browser, it'll work on a tablet, and it'll work on a mobile phone. So you'll be able to create something that is going to work cross-platform entirely. So if you're looking to create apps, so to speak, people say apps as in something that I would install from the App Store, from the Play Store. Do they have to be built in whatever language that's going to be compiled into that, or can it be something that is web-based, cloud-based? So can we just go back over just a brief bit of the question, what kind of things we're looking for with this system?
Like what he wants to be able to achieve?
We've got 3,000 students, so it's a reasonable sized school, eh?
He wants to be able to take the photos, student photos, but also give their security staff the ability to look up the student without having to do it from
Bring
their
up
desk.
the photo and everything. So do the photos need to be encrypted? That would be the question. I would expect so. So could they be simply stored unencrypted but behind an encrypted SSL certificate, for example? So a couple considerations. So I would look personally at, again, this is why I wanted to proceed my answer with, here's where I'm at. This is how I program. I would look at building a web infrastructure, something that is portable, something that the students and teachers have access to from home, from school, that's protected by strong passwords. And sometimes that means not allowing the teachers to have control over their own password, which is tough. We'll talk, Sasha is going to be talking a little bit about Password Box later on in the show, and we've talked about them in the past. Maybe that's a way that you can supplement the system to be able to have very strong passwords. But I would look at building something that is driven by HTML output, HTML5, JavaScript, and can then be compiled into apps that are available on your phone. That sound like what? That sounds fair enough, right? Let's take a look real briefly at some of the options that we have. So one that we could look at. Now, we've all heard of jQuery. You've most likely heard of jQuery, right?
Yes.
Everybody uses that as kind of a web. There's a generalization for you. Everybody uses jQuery. It's like when somebody says everybody uses Windows. Sorry. Okay, so jQuery Mobile is a good one to look at to get started. jQueryMobile.com. And when you're there, you'll see this is a touch-optimized web framework. It's built for to allow you to build web applications for mobile. So I would get started with, download it, install it, use it, play around with the demos. Let's see if they've got here's some demos here. So this is now what you're seeing here on your screen is basically what would have been rendered if I were here on a tablet, because I'm on a computer. So it detects my resolution and it says, okay, you're on a larger screen, so it's laid it out kind of like a tablet would be. So when I click around, it's larger buttons, larger screen. Now if I make my screen smaller, this is where responsive design comes in. So now it's going to detect, hey, actually, okay, now you're on a phone. And so it lays everything out in a phone-style layout. And it's automatically positioned everything in that way. Gotta be honest, a little bit of an ugly demo, I gotta say.
It is. It doesn't look like it was really thought out completely well in regards
Skinnable.
to... Yeah.
It's skinnable. But these demos are so that you can see basically the underlying workings of how you can build web-based applications using this framework, jQuery Mobile. It's pretty good. I like jQuery. They do understand how to make things run fast, and it's a good library, and it's nice to have a mobile framework that is almost it is transferable from your web understanding of building with jQuery. The one that I tend to like better, though, than jQuery Mobile, and I mentioned jQuery Mobile because it is a really good one to get started if you already know jQuery and some JavaScript, and you're working with HTML, PHP, whatever it is. But if you're used to jQuery, that's a good way to start. But then there's one formerly known as JQ Touch, but now it's called JQT. This is the one that you'll likely recognize some of the functionality of this one, because this is what our mobile website is based on. And their focus has been on a really, really streamlined, very you can see from the playback demo here. What JQT has done a little bit differently is they've made their platform, their framework, to operate very, very much like a native mobile app. The whole idea between JQT, is not just functionality, but is appearance, is usability, and is the navigation, so that it makes more sense as an app for you to use this kind of a this is what their perspective is. They're building something that makes more sense from a usability standpoint, so that it feels more like an app. Being able to add it to your home screen and have it create a button that makes it seem like an app, for example. So this one you're going to find if you check out the demos. I'm sure they're here. Preview. So this, now you'll see that this is not, their demo is not responsive. So it's just treating it like it's a phone anyways. So if no matter what size my screen is, it's going to treat it like that. But it does resize the buttons accordingly. So nice thing about this is it does support some things that the jQuery Mobile doesn't, such as proper transition effects. That are, I'm doing this in a web browser, but the fact is that these should work in most current mobile devices. Themes. Okay, so we can make it look more like iOS. That's cool.
Is this Canadian, Robbie?
JQT?
I just saw at one point the screen said "pretty smooth," eh? Question mark. Did you see that?
A? So it just
That must be a
automatically, you just
Canadian
assume
company.
that because they said A, it's all of a sudden Canadian? Okay, let's see. We'll do a who is query on jqtjs.com. I just run a who is query, which tells us who owns the domain. And it is in Texas. Yeah. There you go. Although it's registered through GoDaddy, so that doesn't necessarily mean it could have just been bought there. Let's see. That's where the server is.
Somebody is Canadian in that company.
Somebody, eh?
Or they just think Canadians are pretty cool people.
But there you have it. So this is a nice demonstration that, to me, makes a little bit more sense as a user, because you can go through here and kind of get a feel for how your app is going to perform, how it's going to work. And then, of course, what's the next step? Well, of course, you're going to download the framework and start playing around with it, but view the source. Take a look. Figure out how it works. And you'll see that it is, it's all just HTML, JavaScript, jQuery. There's a bit of jQuery. And it is really, really easy to manage if you're familiar with those languages. And if you're not, then if this is the way you want to go, then I would start with learning HTML5. Sorry, I just take for granted that HTML5. I got to start saying HTML5.
Yes.
There's a difference.
There's a huge difference.
Don't start learning HTML3. Just go straight to HTML5. It's pointless to start with the older stuff, even though it's very, very similar in some regards. But once you've learned that and jQuery, JavaScript, Those are the 3 things that you really need to make this happen. Then you can build a mobile web platform. So for you, for the school, stick it behind an SSL certificate. Make sure that it is one that is based on current standards, because we know that SSL v2, v3 are... so you need to get a new cert and make sure that everything is good and encrypted, not exposed to things like the Poodle exploit, things like that. And then cryptographically encrypt your database for the information itself. We'd have to look at, if you need the images to be encrypted, we'd have to look at how you want to do that. That would be a little bit different. I'm not sure how I would probably go about that. There must be libraries out there to do it. I've never done image encryption that would be considered sound. So from there, where do you go? Okay, so you can. There's a couple of things that you can do with this. You notice if you go to our mobile website, m.cat5.tv, what does it do? It loads our database. It loads information, and so I'm actually, because it's PHP driven and it's ours is running on my server, and it is just a mobile site. I've never had the intention of releasing it under, the app stores, the various app stores, the Play Store. So I've never had the need to make it entirely client side. So to understand that, my database queries and everything are happening server side and are being just created within the application in PHP and outputting to HTML. That's all programmatic stuff. Now, if you plan to release your app, put it into the Play Store and things like that, you need to make sure that you're not doing anything that is server side other than generating, for example, JSON responses that your code could then read without having to have direct server-side access. Because if you compile the application to use on phones, which can be done, I'm going to show you how that, just real brief, how that can be done. You need to be able to install it on the phone, right? So there's a difference in just the way that you go about it. With ours, you add it to your home screen. It's a mobile website in all essences, so when you connect to it, it actually loads the website from my server. My server controls all the stuff that you see on your screen. That may work really, really well for the school, but for other reasons, you may want to compile. In your case, this is probably not the case, but you may want to compile it and make it an application that is actually installed on the phone, as opposed to loading it through a web browser type interface. So if that's the case, it all has to happen on the phone, and it has to make queries to the server, and the server generates responses. That's why I bring up JSON. However, it can't actually run server-side code because it's installed on the phone. So how would you go about doing, taking something like JQT or jQuery mobile and actually compiling it? There's a tool that is available for you. It's called PhoneGap, and there are tutorials out there. PhoneGap, I'm just going to quickly go to phonegap.com. There you go. Their website is self-explanatory, tells you a little bit about it. It allows you to easily create apps using web technologies you know and love. HTML, CSS. I should have mentioned CSS. You want to learn that as well. And JavaScript. PhoneGap is a compiler that allows you to add your applications in such a way that they can make their way into the app stores. So then it becomes an app as opposed to just a mobile website.
Can I ask a question about HTML and CSS? And
yes, you may.
Is it easy just to learn one? Like, you might also want to learn CSS also, like Latin or French or Spanish or a tonal language.
CSS.
I learned how to do it. So I don't know if that's an answer
tell
in
you
itself,
it's pretty
right?
easy.
Or that I'm just a genius and
or that
can
she's
pick
a genius.
things up easy. I don't know. I think from my point, because, I haven't known how to do it as long as you have. I just I started in the design area and then decided that I need to learn how to code my own designs.
She didn't want to hire me anymore.
I thought... Let's not get into that.
All right.
I thought... I didn't find it hard. I actually found it really easy to pick up on. But I think that's also kind of how your mindset is too. Like if you have kind of a problem-solving brain, then I think it's something really easy to pick up on. If not, maybe it's not for you.
Was there something that from your past or something that you already knew? For example, HTML. Knowing HTML probably makes it a little bit easier to learn CSS or JavaScript.
Oh, absolutely. I think what made HTML easy for me to figure out, though, was that I already have an understanding of how things need to be layered and built just with the design perspective. So knowing
your graphic design perspective gave you that ability?
Yeah, knowing how things need to be laid out, or when you do this code here and this code here, understanding how that's going to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I already understand how the end product needs to look. I don't know. Does that help?
Yeah.
Does that help?
I think so. Sasha, to understand, HTML is what your browser sees. It's the code that lays out the website, that gives all the information about the page itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the text that is on the website that you're viewing, that's all HTML, most likely.
And then CSS makes it pretty.
That's the style sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So that creates the look of it. So if I want to change a color to put it into really basic context.
Or your font, or
borders.
Yeah.
Drop shadows.
It sounds kind of ridiculous, but
it's
usually your
important,
CSS style sheets can be like thousands.
You think about how important it is. You're fairly new to it, but I've been doing this a long time, as you say. So we used to lay something out in Photoshop, add the drop shadow, and then have to create slices and get the drop shadow and use them as images.
Yeah.
Now we're using CSS to create box shadows.
Right.
And text shadows and
or
being
even
able to do those dynamically.
rotating images and stuff like that. You can do with that now. Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff. And that's where jQuery JavaScript now comes in, because it's a more advanced programming language. So it allows you to do fancier stuff. So now with jQuery or JavaScript, jQuery is a JavaScript library, so that's why I'm confused. They're kind of married to each other. Being able to take that, and now we can rotate things, and we can make things move, and we can do things that used to take Flash, for example, making slideshows and making fancy stuff. That's jQuery or JavaScript, depending on which approach you want to take. So that all works together.
Can I give you an analogy of how lost I really am?
Well, you're out in the woods. You're in the woods and it's freezing cold.
I'm in an art gallery right now thinking, like, red and yellow make what? That's where I am with everything that you just said.
I think she's been outside too long.
Yeah,
in the snow.
She's getting cold. It's really cold. I hope that helped you.
I also think everyone probably thinks we are the biggest nerds in the world talking about how image rotation and drop shadows is the fun stuff.
So exciting. Box shadows made my year. Seriously.
To be able to do a nice Christmas card, your holiday card.
Border radius.
Robbie's highlights of the year.
Love these things. Oh, yeah. When was the last time I used a graphic editor to make a graphical website? It's pretty rare these days. Yeah. It's mostly done through code. I love that. It means recycling a lot of things and not having to reinvent the wheel every time. Well, that's cool for me. But I know what time it is. Sasha, do you know what time it is?
Yes, I do. It is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2014, and here are the stories we're covering this week. A bug in practically all versions of Microsoft Windows lets hackers take control of your system, and the patch Microsoft is providing is breaking systems. Sony is breaking the mold with a smartwatch that lasts for about 60 days on a single charge. Graphene shows promise for bulletproof armor. And PasswordBox has been bought by Intel Security. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
Good news!
Operation Christmas Child is one of the great stories that's unfolding in our lifetime.
We are only seeing just the beginning of this project. And these children will change the world.
I'm Sasha Dermatis, and here are the top stories from the Category 5.tv newsroom. Early last month, there was a lot of press coverage about a massive flaw and emergency patch for Windows, as ESET says it had detected a real-life exploit for a vulnerability that's been part of Windows for nearly 2 decades. The patch released by Microsoft, which affects nearly all of the company's major platforms, is rated critical, and it is recommended that you install the patch immediately. However, the patch has caused some servers to inexplicably hang and software to become unresponsive. So, patch or don't patch, you've potentially got a serious problem either way. So that's a Windows thing, eh, Robbie?
It was a Windows thing, yeah. First of all, I realized how ginormous lifesavers really are when you stick them in your mouth when you're live on the air.
You're trying not to crunch them.
I'm trying not to crunch it.
Obnoxious.
Because it's huge in my mouth. Sasha, what do we say when the Windows updates come out on Patch Tuesday? Update your computer.
I say, not right now, delay, and then you just keep delaying and you never update anything.
Well, we say it's good practice, right? You get the security patches. It's a good idea. Stop. It's a good idea to upgrade your computer, and then this happens.
It's bad to update your computer, evidently.
And it breaks your computer.
Yes.
Bricks it even.
It bricks your computer.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a good typo that I didn't actually read out.
All right.
Very nice. Okay, next story. Sony has developed a watch made from e-paper as part of an initiative experiment using the materials in fashion products. The Fez watch has a minimalistic monochrome design, but falls short of features offered by smartwatches. I like it. However, unlike other smartwatches, the battery of the e-paper watch could last far longer with an estimated 60 days of use on a single charge. The device has been described as retro and cool by gadget expert Stuart Miles from Pocketlint. He says, "One of my predictions for next year is that fashion is going to play a huge part in shaping the tech industry. Having a phone that's big and square is one thing, but if you're actually wearing things, they have to look good. And those watches look good. The watch face and straps have an e-paper display comparable to the technology used in e-book readers such as Amazon's Kindle." It's not a bad-looking watch,
I think that looks pretty cool. And
I think they look terrible.
You think
Really?
they look terrible?
This is, and she's the bee's knees when it comes to.
I think they look like, when you're a kid and those little snap bracelets that you could have.
Yeah.
They didn't actually look cool. They were just fun to do.
Yeah.
Right? I think those look terrible.
60 days, though. Yeah.
This is just my one little opinion.
Okay. I'm looking at the image,
That's all.
and I am kind of seeing, as you look closer, it's kind of weird, but it's the future, Christa.
Future doesn't have to look terrible.
Would you wear one of these? Sasha, would you wear one of these?
I'm just saying.
I don't wear any jewelry at all because anything
Okay.
I wear makes me look like a pirate. But I would buy that for somebody else. Like it could be in Dave's stocking. Who knows?
Have you been trying on a lot of eye patches or something?
Just whatever you do, don't buy it for Christa. That's all. Because
don't want it.
she just doesn't want it.
It's
so.
just my opinion. That's all. You may like it, and that's, it's kind of a neat idea. I just think that maybe you should go in a different look direction.
Maybe a different look.
It would make telling time kind of difficult by the looks of things.
Really?
Because of how shiny
it's 8
it is?
and something.
Or if you're outdoors and there's sun outside.
No. See, and that's where I need to interrupt because have you seen e-paper?
I don't know.
It's really neat. I was in Chapters the other day doing some Christmas shopping, and so you get to see the latest Kobo, and I wonder, in light of Amazon, how does Kobo even sell books? It's crazy. But they're there, and the screen doesn't look like a screen. It's incredible. It's really cool. And it doesn't care if there's bright lights above your head. It doesn't reflect like this.
It doesn't care if Christa doesn't like it. It just...
But it looks really.
Has no
it
feelings.
would look like looking at paper, and it's moving, and it's telling the time, and that's pretty neat. Maybe we'd have to see
the
one in real life.
concept. The concept is cool.
Okay, you just don't like the design.
I'm just saying I don't like the design of it. That's
The
all
whole
I'm saying.
brickwork
I'm
on
not
the
saying
side.
the idea
Okay.
is terrible. I'm saying that if you're calling this stylish, I don't agree. That's all. That's all.
Not
Oh.
stylish, but cool.
Maybe
There you
you
have it.
don't like e-paper, but maybe you'll like graphene. The wonder material graphene could be used to make bulletproof armor.
But
In
can you
20
make watches?
In 2010, Manchester University researchers Andrei Gam and Konstantin Novoselov shared the Nobel Prize in Physics for their discovery of graphene. Graphene consists of a sheet of single atoms arranged in a honeycomb structure. It is thin, strong, flexible, and electrically conductive, and it has the potential to transform electronics as well as other technologies. U.S. researchers carried out miniature ballistic tests by firing tiny silica spheres at sheets of graphene. In Science magazine, they report that atom-thick layers of this material can be stronger than steel when it comes to absorbing impacts. The mini ballistics test showed that graphene's extraordinary strength, elasticity, and stiffness allowed it to absorb between 8 and 10 times the impact that steel can withstand. However, the way in which graphene sheets respond to the microbullet also resulted in a wider impact hole, which could potentially be a disadvantage for bulletproof armor.
Yeah, I'll say that's a pretty big disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it absorbs it and blasts. Now I have to do this. As you were talking about this, and as this picture is up on the screen, I was looking and I thought, wait a minute. Does anyone else see it? It just goes to show that they thought of everything on Star Trek.
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Ah,
I thought it was just a
yes.
crazy moment. My bad.
Everybody's blankly staring at Robbie.
Exactly. If Sasha look, I was like, do you see it?
You see it, right? Encounter at
Sure,
Farpoint?
someone sees
NCC
it.
1701D?
You need to
Grid?
stop.
Q? John Delancey?
All right, back to me,
You
Robbie.
just keep digging.
All right.
Intel has bought Montreal-based startup PasswordBox, an identity management service which helps users securely manage their passwords. Congratulations, PasswordBox.
Way to go.
Intel announced the deal Monday, but did not release financial terms. PasswordBox, which launched its product 18 months ago, has backing from OMERS. Its password app has been downloaded 14 million times worldwide. The app gives users a convenient way to log into all of their websites and applications from any device without having to remember or type passwords. Using one tap on mobile devices or one click in a browser, they get secure access to their favorite apps and sites. According to a report from Deloitte, 90% of user-generated passwords are vulnerable to hacking. Many of us are suffering from password fatigue, using the same password for multiple sites and frequently forgetting their passwords. So a password solution could be a powerful addition to Intel's security approach. PasswordBox has spent the last 2 years building a product that people love, trust, and use around the world every day, Daniel Robichon, CEO and co-founder of PasswordBox, said. We share Intel Security's vision of simple, secure access and identity protection across all platforms and devices. To learn all about PasswordBox from our perspective, check out Category 5 Technology TV's episode 332 and 347, I believe both of which I was on. Here's a happy little side note for you. All 48 PasswordBox employees will now become part of Intel Security. Plus, existing PasswordBox users now get a premium subscription for free. Yay!
Nice.
That is great news.
Well, congratulations to PasswordBox. I love PasswordBox. I really do. They don't pay me to say that. I really love it. It's become basically my bookmarks for my browser because it remembers all my logins. It's brilliant. So I've got one really, really strong, crazy, ridiculous password that I have to remember, and it's so much easier to remember that one password than a million passwords. So what does it give me the ability to do? I'm able to create really crazy, strong, independent passwords for every site that I use. So when I go to Amazon, when I go to wherever, they are very, very strong, independent passwords. So I'm very, very safe. If somebody somehow ever compromised my master password on PasswordBox by torturing me or some other crazy thing, because it's not written down anywhere, so how would they possibly get it? It's encrypted everywhere. So
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Password 1, 2, 3.
How did you know? But if somebody ever got it, all I'd have to do is change that master password, and then boom, I'm still entirely protected. So it becomes like a bookmark, a hybrid bookmark system that remembers my logins. I love that. It's so easy to use.
Very cool.
For all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, visit the Category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. For the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Dermatis.
Thanks, Sasha. This is Category 5 Technology TV. You'll find us online at www.category5.tv. For the record, Dennis Kelly in the chat room. I get it, he says. I get it.
Someone did.
Q Continuum. Encounter at Farpoint. NCC 1701D. Picard. Riker. Right?
We're all very happy someone
I'm excited.
is on the same
Dennis
wavelength
Kelly
as
is.
you.
Somebody's got to
Wait,
say.
how many viewers do we have?
Right now?
I'm just ballpark it.
Ballpark 60 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one understood you.
1 out of 60,000. Yeah. Did you? Please email us if you understood the reference to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Don't admit it.
You're going to get an email from
I gotta slide up here so I can push you there.
for the Nobel Prize winners. They're probably the ones that developed the product and discovered it.
How dare you call
they've
us
been watching-
plagiarists?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I've got this really. I mean, everybody has owned or owns a be it a Brita or a water
Something.
filter of some type.
And everybody drinks water.
You do, right? I don't want any kidney stones, so you need to drink loads of water. Save yourself the pain. But what's the problem with a lot of those products? They are simply filters.
Mm-hmm.
They clean out a little bit of the junk, but they don't actually do anything to improve the quality of the water. Now, if you understand alkalinity at all, even a little bit, you know that your body requires certain things like electrolytes. As you're working out, as you're going about your day-to-day, you have to have electrolytes in your system. And so if you are dehydrated, for example, you'll get an electrolyte drink and you chug it back and you
Right.
feel great. But it's loaded with chock full of sugar.
Yes.
It's got just a whole bunch of garbage in it that is terrible for you. Along comes Vive, water from the future. So this is basically it's a water jug. I'm not going to open it because I'm going to send it to you, but it's a water jug that balances the pH of the water, and it does it basically creates a sport drink out of water as far as the minerals and the ability for it to alkalize you, to correct pH, and to create a drink that is healthier than even just regular water, spring water. It's healthier, of course, than a sports drink, which is, like I say, loaded with sugar and calories and all that kind of stuff, all the stuff that we don't need, right? So Vive comes along. Check them out. It's vivewater.ca. We're going to be giving away a couple of these throughout the month. So what I want you to do is pop us an email. It's contest@category5.tv. All I need from you is your address so that if you win, I can ship it to you. You have to go over to vivewater.ca. And what I want you to do when you're there, I'm going to bring it up on my screen. I'm not going to bring it up on yours. I want you to, there are bullet points on the home page. It says alkaline sports water pitcher. I want you to tell me what the third bullet point is in that list. And you email that to contest@category5.tv. And we're going to award a couple of these this month. So very cool stuff. I drink alkalized water, and now I'm drinking from a Vive pitcher myself. And it's better tasting water, but it's also just to know that it's alkalized and really good for you, pH balanced, and contains no calories or anything like that. It's great stuff. So I've got those to send out. vivewater.ca.
Sounds good. Hey, 20 years ago, did you ever think that you would be promoting water?
I know, right? And we thought bottled water back then was something out of sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
Like canned air.
Who pays for that?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, do we have some time for another question?
Yeah, we do. I think
All right.
so. Yeah.
All right, well, here's just one that was in the chat room here. Rev D Jank, I don't know if this was answered by anyone. I didn't see that was, so
Hey, Rev.
let's shoot it out there. He says, I'm running Linux Mint 17 and my touchpad is very touchy. I have already adjusted the sensitivity to the lowest, but the slightest touch becomes a click. Is there a way to decrease the sensitivity? I know he's also mentioned that it's not the touchpad, he thinks. It's something in the settings.
Well, keeping in mind that the touchpad is technically, according to your operating system, your mouse, right? So the first thing that I would do, Rev D Jank, is plug in a USB mouse and see if it has the same sensitivity problem. If that's the case, then we know that your mouse sensitivity on the system itself in the software is set too high. On Mint, I'm not entirely sure. Usually it's going to be under System, Preferences, Mouse. And in there, now I'm on Point Linux, which is Debian based. I'm going to just pull up mine here. So this is System, Preferences, Mouse. And you'll see that I've got pointer acceleration and sensitivity. Acceleration is probably, what you want to manipulate, but give a couple of things a try. Check your accessibility settings to see if anything is set up in accessibility that is, for some reason, causing you some problems. But change these settings and see if that helps. All right. But again, plug in a USB mouse first, and that will determine then if it's your mice or if it's actually the trackpad, if it's something that's maybe hardware or BIOS related. Also watch out that you, with some of those, if they're multi-touch, or even if they're not multi-touch, sometimes if you accidentally rest your wrist, or if you're pushing with two fingers, touching with two fingers. But a lot of times what happens, is that you'll rest your wrist on it and be doing this, and you don't realize, but your palm is actually touching a very small portion of the touchpad, and so it causes a bit of this jerky back and forth between the bottom and the top of the touchpad. So check that as well. Plugging in a mouse will determine that for you too. So, thanks for the question. Hope that helps.
Right. There's a question from Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, just watched this on my Roku. I wanted to say how much I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Can't believe your co-host admitted she has a PC with Windows Vista on it.
Who
Shocking.
did that?
Who is that? Is that?
That's not me.
Not Sasha.
No?
No, Sasha's running Linux.
Which co-host is that?
Was it Hillary?
Oh, I don't know.
It could have been either
I don't
Hillary
know.
or
A co-host
Kelsey.
just recently admitted
I
that they have a
deleted it.
Mac.
Yeah,
Well,
that
why
was
would that be
shocking.
anything terrible?
At least it's Unix, Unix deriv. Huh. Well, I'll give her that.
Just saying.
I deleted the information from my mind. Okay, sorry.
It wasn't difficult. That's old age, isn't it? Or was that?
I'm a goldfish, as you said.
The question
Yes.
is,
Okay.
he says, I'm an old school programmer who's lost touch a bit with the more modern languages. I am very adept, actually used to be, at BASIC, Pascal, and COBOL. I have some software I need to write, mainly non-graphical, with a simple interface and using Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS, APIs, and I was wondering what language you would suggest given my prehistoric experience. Anyhow, thanks for the entertainment.
Yeah, cheers. We're happy to provide the show. I enjoyed hanging out with you every week. So I wish I knew a little bit more there about what it is that you are trying to program, Nick. The purpose behind the application, because that would help me to determine what approach I would take. So I'm afraid I don't know enough. I wonder if maybe some of the stuff that I talked about earlier might be along the lines, but it sounds like you're talking about something that's maybe terminal based, in which case, I don't know if you want to look at, Bash isn't what you're looking for. Possibly, I don't know how to touch that one.
He's stumped.
Because I don't know what you're doing. I like it when I understand the project a little bit better, so that I can kind of get a feel for, okay, well, you want to do that. Here's how I would do it. But and as I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty much coding for web exclusively, and I do some interesting things where I kind of marry PHP CLI with Bash and do some really cool stuff, because PHP is a powerful language, and because that's my background, I'm able to do some things server-side through Bash that is pretty excellent. I'm able to do anything that I need to do, but it's not ideal for distribution because you want to be able to compile something that people can just run on their computer without having something like PHP CLI installed. I'm going to leave that one also to the chat room. And chat room, if you have any ideas for what approach Nick should take, I'd welcome you to post them there. And Nick, we're going to keep the chat logs up on our website, category5.tv, under episode number 376. This is Category 5 Technology TV. I'm your host, Robbie Ferguson.
I'm Christa Wells.
I'm Sasha Dermatis.
Hey, Sasha.
It's cold out here, Robbie.
I know. It looks freezing where you are. It's nice and warm
actually-
where we are.
I love this background,
You like
to
that?
be honest.
We just thought we'd go a little bit
I
Christmassy.
matched the trees.
Yeah. If I kind of stand sideways, I have the brick pattern.
I'm wondering, actually,
Diamonds,
Robbie, if you
yes.
could like come over to the green screen and see how you
See
disappear.
what happens if Robbie suddenly...
Like, I can move out of this
Can
spot
I do
and
this?
have you
Can I
move
do
in.
this? Okay. What would happen?
There I
Oh,
am.
you're showing the edge of your screen. Okay.
Oh, no, you come in.
Oh, there we go. I'm a little bit translucent.
Yeah, you can kind of just see the trees through ya.
You're a shadow.
Hmm.
I like it. Maybe
like-
I will start wearing
It's like you're the
green.
ghost of
Look at this.
Christmas past.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. I'll get off your set. Go back to mine.
It's
Where
warmer
I feel,
over here.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable
Indoors.
over here. It's a little better. Can't see through me quite as easily. Semi-transparent. That was about a 60% alpha.
Is that something you'd have to program in CCS?
CSS?
CSS?
It's close.
Possibly,
darn.
possibly. And now you know why green shirts aren't allowed on the green screen. That's how it goes. All right, folks. Well, that's all the time that we have. Did we cover pretty much everything? Now, we started a little bit late, so we could field really a real quick question, because we did get a little bit of a late start there because of a hiccup off the bat. For those of you who are watching live, you know. Those of you who are watching on demand had no idea until I just said that.
Yeah.
So we do
But now
have
you
3
know.
minutes.
Hang our heads in shame.
Do you have a quick question for me?
I have a question, and
Okay.
depending on how brilliant you are or not. it
Oh,
did-
darn. Put it that way. This is going to take forever.
Is it from Jot?
No. It's a question from Old Salt.
Hey, old salt.
Says, hi, Robbie. Do you know of any free point and click, drag and drop website building software for Linux? If it comes with free or low cost hosting as well, that would be a plus.
Okay.
Basically just not looking to spend a whole lot.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so low-cost hosting. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, we have our deal with DreamHost. cat5.tv/DreamHost, just like it sounds. $70 gets you carbon-neutral LAMP hosting for 1 year. $70 for the whole year. It gets you a free domain registration, so you get your own .com. You get unlimited storage space for your website, 50 gigs of personal backup space if you want to use it. You don't have to. You get to host an unlimited number of domains on your account. You get unlimited email accounts and unlimited bandwidth. So it's a fantastic deal. That's cat5.tv/DreamHost. But you have to use the coupon code CAT5TV. So that's the cheapest, most amazing hosting that you're going to find for the price. All right? As far as software goes, I've never been one to use what you see is what you get editors, WYSIWYG editors, but that would be a good search query. Think what you see is what you get. So go into Google, type WYSIWYG.
He's saying
What
the
you
words
see
on
is
his
what you
head
get.
as he's,
WYSIWYG editor, Linux, free, do something like that. You're going to find things like AMEA. You're going to find things like Composer, which is a dead project, but still, for basic editing, you're probably going to do okay with that. Most currently is Blue Griffin. That's one that is going to, it's got packages already ready for Ubuntu. So that would be a good starting point as well. You'll find those all just through a Google search. Blue Griffin, again, is probably the one that I would start looking at. Blue and Griffin is GRIFFON, and see how that lands you. I think these days, though, even just deploying WordPress and then using the built-in WYSIWYG editor in WordPress, they've done a really good job with WordPress 4 making it so that you can drag and drop things like videos and pictures and scale the pictures probably better than a lot of the...
They have some incredible templates out now, too.
That's true, too, yeah. And the editor itself is just so simple for you. So watch back at some of our shows where, Sasha and I installed WordPress and got it up and going, and maybe that's the way I would go. But get that hosting account from us, and that's going to be your best deal for hosting. And then you can download WordPress for free at wordpress.org is where you want to go, not .com, because that's the commercial stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all the time that we have. I hope that has helped you out, but thanks for being here tonight. It's been another fun week. Next week, I am excited about this. You ready? We are going to be looking at a 3D printer that is affordable enough and small enough, form factor-wise, to fit under the Christmas tree, and easy enough to use that even the kids will be able to print stuff. Even Christa could make a bobblehead doll of Robbie. Could you?
Trying to say,
could you please?
Even Christa.
Even Christa could do it, folks.
Pretty advanced.
Even Christa could do it. And we're going to be looking at this thing, and I'm excited about that because we're going to get a hands-on demonstration of 3D printing, so you don't want to miss that. That's next Tuesday night. In the meantime, have a wonderful week. I didn't mean that. I think you're awesome.
My feelings are hurt.
Okay. Sorry.
Bye, guys. I have to go cry.
Gosh. See ya. Take care.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local show times in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.